Hey guys, how's it going? I am doing so good today. Thank you so much for watching Holistic Honey. You guys are getting self-care videos from me, so let's get right into today's topic. I don't know if some of you guys know, I've done a video on just like the farmers market in Nashville before, but that was a while ago. I actually live in Nashville. I'm always like pretty like skeptical to like figure out whether I want to tell people that, but I have some information that I would like to share, especially for people who might be interested in moving to Nashville, or you know, they might be, you know, curious about the city. So I looked up if anyone had any videos on, you know, the experience of living here, and a lot of it revolves around music. And although we all know that this is the music city, I do want to share, you know, the perspective of someone who did not move here for music and who just moved here for, you know, the lifestyle and the experience of living in Nashville. If you are interested, let's get right into it. I broke this up into some pros and cons, and I'm going to give you the cons of living in Nashville first so that we can end on a positive note. The cons kind of align with my pros a little bit, so don't like judge me if I basically say that a pro and a con is like the same thing, but sometimes something is good and then sometimes it's bad. It just depends on the situation. So first con, and it's not really my con personally, it's just a topic that a lot of people talk about when they live here, and that is the cost of living is high, and that it is rising, and that it's way different from when someone moved here 4 or 5 years ago. For me, I'm from Georgia. A lot of my living expenses I did through Atlanta because that's where my family is. Even if I didn't exactly live in Atlanta, in Georgia, when I was in college, I still like did all of my stuff there, like my financial stuff. So when you're thinking about like car insurance and different things like that, my car insurance was not as high as it is right now. I also have a newer car right now, so that could be of course the case, but I noticed that a lot of the living expenses are higher here. Like electricity is way higher, and just like rent, like if you want to rent a 1-bedroom, it's usually like $800 or above, but I think it's like that in Atlanta at this point as well. So I think the reason why I'm comparing it to Atlanta is because I'm from Georgia, but when we look at all of these bigger cities at this point, you guys, I think that a lot of bigger cities are just experiencing growing pains right now because the cost of living and wages do not match right now in a lot of cities. So it's not just in Nashville. So if you're planning to move to a bigger city, you'll probably hear people complain about the cost of living. Me and my boyfriend right now, we pay probably around like $1,100 a month. But if you're planning to move to Nashville, I encourage you that if you don't really have like the income that you're wanting right now, to not be afraid, because so many people are looking for roommates. So many people have houses that they're renting out. So many people have like roommate situations, like people let you rent out a room in their home. There's like so many options. So I don't want that to like discourage you guys, because as long as you're wanting to move to a big city, you're going to experience a higher cost of living. I think that the problem here is that, you know, a lot of people have lived here for a long time, and they're seeing the growth of the city, and that's hurting them and their way of life. So if someone's used to paying, you know, lower in rent, or they're used to their property being, you know, lower, or whatever, like they're experiencing the changes in the growth, and so that's why they probably will complain. For me, I already knew what we were getting into when we moved to a bigger city, so I didn't really care. Next cons would be my personal preferences. So these are not things that, you know, like it's affecting everyone, but these are just things that I've noticed from moving to Georgia to Tennessee, and just different things that kind of like I don't like. First thing is kind of tedious, and it's really not something that, you know, alters my way of life. But I don't like the grocery stores here. I feel like the grocery stores are not like well kept. I feel like the Krogers in Atlanta are like super amazing. Krogers in Atlanta have bars in them, Starbucks, an actual huge amazing deli that feels like you're in a restaurant. They have a natural food section, like an entire half of the store is natural foods, and then the other half is just like your regular like processed foods. And I feel like a lot of the stores here like have poor produce. They don't have like fresh fish like in Atlanta. Like you can go to your deli and get fresh fish. Like you can't do that here, and that's probably because we are in the middle of Tennessee, so it's probably harder to like deliver things like from the ocean, or it's probably harder to deliver, you know, like fresh produce. I don't know, and don't quote me on that because I'm really not sure, but the grocery stores are like really like low quality, and it doesn't matter what side of town you go on. I think there's like one Whole Foods, and even when I go there, it's just not as high quality. Second preference is that the winter sucks, and this is technically my second winter, so I have been here for a year, but I moved here in the winter. The winter last year lasted at least until April, and then this year we're kind of seeing the same patterns. I have a lot of people tell me all the time, you know, oh, this is just this year, this is climate change, but this is my second year, and I definitely don't like the winter, and I don't like how cold it gets early on. So in September it started to get really cold. Like my boyfriend was looking back on his text messages, and he was like, darn, in September I told you how cold it was, and we didn't realize like this has lasted so long. Right now it's March the 6th, and it's still very, very cold outside, and so I do not like that. I used to live by the beach, and I also used to live in South Georgia where it's warm all the time. It's very humid, but it's warm, and that's just something we were used to. Right now our moods kind of change in the winter, and we're completely different people in the summer, and so I really wish that we could get more sunshine. Now it's also like record-breaking rainfall too. Last month was like record-breaking rainfall in February, so it pretty much rained every day, and we saw about 2 or 3 sunny days, and so I really didn't like that. And since we're on Central Time here, the sun goes down at like, you know, around 4 o'clock during the winter months, and so it's just really sad and depressing. So that's the only thing I don't like about as far as the weather. But the summer is beautiful. We had a beautiful summer last summer, and the fall is beautiful, and the spring is beautiful, but we really didn't experience much spring. It just went from like winter to summer. My third preference of under the cons is that the beach is about 7 hours away. So if you want to go to the closest beach, it's going to be about 7 hours or more. And so to plan a beach trip, you pretty much have to plan a flight, or you have to plan like so much, whereas when I lived in Georgia, you could go to any beach from Atlanta about 4 hours apart, like no matter where you want to go, even if you want to go outside of the state. So that is something that I'm definitely not used to, is having to like plan a big trip around going to the beach instead of taking a day trip. And I really love the beach, but the way that I've like counteracted the beach is by experiencing the beautiful lakes that we have here. Last con is that a lot of people here are just very different. So a lot of people will say that this is the South, but again, I'm from Georgia, so the South is like Georgia to me. Like I'm born and raised. I know Southern people. I know their kindness. I know their shadiness. I know everything about them, so I feel more connected. I know when someone's being genuine with me. But here in Nashville, it's like a melting pot kind of. There's a lot of different people coming from a lot of different places, and so it's really hard for me to, you know, connect with different people because maybe they're from somewhere and I'm just like not used to their mentality, or the way that their demeanor is, or connecting with people is a little difficult sometimes because people aren't just like friendly and genuine and have been living in this town or this city their entire life, and so it's really hard to just like connect and know who's genuine and who's not genuine. And there's like so many people, so you do have the opportunity to meet a lot of people, but it's weeding through people. It's constantly like weeding through people's intentions. Get right into some pros and some positive things and end this video on a good note. The first pro and the first thing that I really love about Nashville is the food. So much food in Nashville. Nashville is also known for hot chicken, so you can get hot chicken. There's so many like hot chicken places like Hattie B's or Prince's. There is just so much like Asian food, like Thai food and Japanese food, good Chinese food, like sushi everywhere, like sushi everywhere. There's so much food. The only food that I have yet to find is seafood, and again, I think that seafood is probably not as common because we're nowhere near like the shore or the coast. Other than that, you guys, you can find any type of food you want any good food, any good bars, any good drinks, like anything like that you're gonna find. It's every night of the week. It's not just like Friday night or Saturday night you're gonna find something good. It's gonna be like any night of the week you want some good food, you're gonna have it. The second pro that I really enjoy about the city is it's easy to find a job. So my job actually transferred me to Nashville when I moved to Nashville, so I had already had a job. But literally when I moved here, I still applied to jobs just to like keep myself like in the market, and there was so many jobs to call me back. There was so many jobs to give me offers. There was just so many job opportunities, and there's a lot of different ways that you can actually connect with other people to get jobs, like going and joining Facebook groups, joining LinkedIn groups, like just really connecting. There's always like networking events. There's just so much to do, and also there's a lot of freelance and contract work. So if you want to just do something to make like $100 or $150, there are opportunities always to do those type of things, like to do like freelance things. You can join any brand ambassador groups on Facebook, and that will also like help you to be able to stay connected with the city, make money, and just like get used to people. And that's a good way to connect and like meet people as well. Like it's very easy to find like a job. It may not be as easy to find your specific job that you are absolutely looking for, because maybe that field might be competitive. But if you're just looking for a job to get on your feet, and a job that's just gonna like assist in your income while you get like settled in, then I really feel like, you know, that this is a good city for that. Third pro is that there's such easy access to downtown. So downtown is where, like, you know, all of the concerts will happen, like all of the good bars, all of the good music, all of the live music. Not to say that the other, like outside of downtown doesn't provide that, but it's just like a one-stop shop. You can just like park your car, pay for parking, or however you're gonna do that situation, and then you can just walk to different things. You don't have to, you know, be driving here and driving there. And so I really appreciate that about the city. Like if you want to have a night downtown, you just find an Uber or anything like that and drive into the city however you want to do that and have a good night. You pretty much do that every single night of the week, and there's always something going on downtown. There's always concerts. In the summertime, there's like live music in the park downtown. There's always just like something going on. And I like the spring and summer vibe here. I really like how you can go to food trucks. There has like downtown, they have like food trucks on Thursdays afternoons sometimes in the summer. They might have it more, but I'm really not sure because I'm still getting used to the city. The farmers market. The farmers market is amazing because there's like a venue where you can eat food, but then outside you can also like shop fresh and local produce. You can shop local farms. You can shop, you know, if you want to get new flowers and plants and crystals, and there's so much at the farmers market, and there's always live music there. Live music thing is definitely a thing. You'll see live music and hear it every single where that you go, and it's just a beautiful vibe. So I really appreciate that about the city. Thing for you guys is there's a lot of artistic and creative people here. So if you are young and creative, you are in the right place. I feel like there's so many people that you meet that love music, they love to write, they love to paint, they love to, you know, dance and sing, and they love to enjoy nature. And so when I meet people like that, I'm just like, you are feeding my entire soul, and I'm so happy that I met you, because I am too that type of person, and my boyfriend is also that type of person. So we love like just going out and meeting people that are creative, and we've met so many creative people. We can definitely be more open about like being with creative people, but don't feel like you have to go to bars here. You have to go on Broadway and party. Like there's so many creative things to do. You can go to the museums, to the Free Museum downtown. There's just so many possibilities for creativity here. Also, there's a lot of beautiful murals. So when I first moved here, I would take like tons of pictures. And last thing is that there's always something to do, and the things that I like to do the most is enjoy the nature. So there's so many parks. There's so many, well, there's a few lakes. If you want to go outside of the city or outside of town, you can also go to different waterfalls. So that's super cool. You can go on hikes. There's always people who are willing to hike with you. I encourage you guys to get the Meetup app. and start going through different events that are going on around you, whether you don't live in Nashville or not, because there's so many people who will have meetups to go on hikes with people. That's a good way to get to know people. And then also just like different classes you can go to. My most favorite thing about this city so far is the lake. So I love Percy Priest Lake, and there is actually an entrance. So if you're in Nashville, there's an entrance called Long Beach Island, and that's my favorite entrance, and it's currently closed. It's in March. It's March right now, but we had flooding last week, so it's closed right now, and it actually doesn't look that great. But in the summer, when it's like dry and the land is actually visible, it is a very beautiful part of the lake, and so I cannot wait to like go there again. I love doing that and just bringing like some beer in my blanket and just chilling there all day. Really like enjoying the lake. It's a little rocky, so there's a lot of rocks at the bottom, but if you enjoy nature, you actually don't really care about things like that. It's just being in the sun, and the sunset at this location is just so beautiful. But what I like about this lake is there's so many different entrances. I also like to go hiking at Radnor Lake. So if you are moving here and you are, you know, close to the Brentwood area, or you don't mind traveling there, there's a lake called Radnor Lake, and then there is a beautiful trail that you can walk as well. That's all I have for you guys today. If you have any opinions on it, I want you guys to let me know below. Let me know your favorite things about Nashville and what you like to do. Let me know if you want to visit here, because if you are in my city, we can definitely connect. And overall, I can say that this is definitely like an 8 out of 10 city to move to right now, especially for people who, you know, have just graduated college and they're still looking to have like that, you know, that connection with younger people and creative people. And not to say that only young people live in Nashville, but to say that it's a good start for if you're trying to figure out a city for you. So until next time, I hope that you subscribe. Please subscribe. It really helps the channel. Like this video and have a beautiful, beautiful day.